Welcome to the last Xeno stream in the foreseeable future, I think. Because we have, as of yesterday, beaten Xenogears, Xenosaga 1, 2, and 3. And a while ago we've also beat, Xenoblade 3 and its DLC. And before I ever started streaming, I also played and beat Xenoblade 1 and 2 and their DLCs. But there's something special with Xenoblade 3's DLC, Future Redeemed, which I have already queued up here on YouTube. And that is a specific scene that plays towards the very end, which apparently has connections to Xenosaga and maybe Xenoblade X, I'm not sure. But now that I've played... I also played Xenoblade X before I started streaming, obviously. That's like one of my favorite games ever. But yeah, now that I have played Xenosaga and Gears recently, I have been wanting to go back to this scene. And so I have gone and found a video by somebody named Timodus. Maybe it's Timodus. Or something else. And yeah, so we're gonna watch that. Maybe we'll have some new revelations here. And then I have some other stuff like loosely queued up on YouTube that I think might be interesting. But let's just start with the most pressing matter. And we're gonna start just before the actual scene. As like a bit of a lead-in, I guess. So let's go. And then, right, I guess I'll actually just, yeah, bit of a loading time, so I'll skip that. And then, here we go. So far, nothing really stands out more than before. Let's pause here. Do I recognize that structure? Is that the thing from Xenosaga? Right, wasn't that a thing in Xenosaga? I don't remember what it's called. I feel like that is the thing. Maybe it would be best, I didn't queue anything like that up, but I should probably also queue up like a video that maybe delves into the stuff that is reviewed here for things that I might miss. Sienna Morgan does not ring a bell. Barry Crowley, also not familiar. Heyo, Emily VTuber. And yeah, obviously now that I've played Xenogears, the similarity visually and also fighting style-wise between the protagonist of this DLC and Faye from Xenogears is pretty apparent. I'm doing alright. I hope you're doing okay. Yeah, I think at this point when I originally played this, I still thought this was most like Xenoblade X, because I hadn't played Saga, but also even now, it seems more like an X-type area, but that one building stands out, that one structure. But I'm hoping for more intrigue. This is Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the DLC Future Redeemed. I'm only watching a cutscene of that. I played the game a while ago, but I have some new context for this cutscene or this scene in the game. So I'm trying to see if I can spot anything new or interesting.
キャッスルより何倍も大きい。
シルク、ここってあれだよな。
ああ。
What? Like YouTube? I upload my Twitch archives, or like the archives of the stream that I record on my PC, I guess. I upload those on YouTube. So yes, kinda.
僕たちの始まり。ザンザ。いや、クラウスの世界だ。
So I guess this also, assuming that this structure here is the thing from Saga that I'm thinking of, then that ties Xenoblade 1 and with that also the entire Xenoblade universe into Saga in at least some way. But maybe this is just from Xenoblade and I'm tripping.
何の世界だって？
僕とレックスの世界ができる前、すべては一つだった。それがここなんだ。
Neofiber. Well, yeah. Just check the title. It's the wrap-up party.
点で話してたくっつく前に。
So the event that split the worlds was maybe the ending of Xeno Saga 3? Because, you know, they kind of created a different dimension or some shit. Is that why the Xenoblade worlds were split apart? Maybe. That could be. I play all kinds of stuff. I have been kind of streaming a lot of RPGs, like the Trails games and Xenosaga and stuff. But I technically play all kinds of stuff. I don't play a lot of shooters because my wrists, my right wrist has issues, let's say. So I can't use mouse controls for a long time. But just about anything else, I guess. Anything that doesn't require a lot of mouse usage. Yeah.
2つそれぞれの世界があって、そのさらに前の世界ってことか？なかなかの理解。
I don't know if I can recover from that.
ってことは、俺たちは昔に来たってこと？
いや違う。オリジン。
Well, it's the wrap-up, you know. We're doing the last bit of research and looking into things and sending off the series as far as it currently is. I don't know. I played all the games, and so this is like the last bit for now.
は記憶の場だ。僕たちはその直下にいた。
ああ、ここはおそらくオリジンの中だ。
つまり誰かの記憶ってこと？この時代の記憶を持っている者は一人しかいない。
アルファか。しかし何だってこんなものを見せる。見せているのもアルファなのか、それとも
Music.
ピアノ？この曲は。
Oh, is it? Hold on. Yeah, oh. No, I thought it didn't do that, but I guess it makes sense. Okay. Yeah, hold on. It is the DLC for Xenoblade 3, which I also streamed. But, you know, that was a lot shorter, so makes sense that you wouldn't have seen as much of them. Where's the chat box? There it is, I think. So I do have to change the width manually. Where's that fucking setting? I hate this fucking layout for the chat box setup. I can never fucking see, like, quite tell where to change things. Is it here? Yes, there it is. It's so fucking stupid. Thank you. I think it was like 400. That makes sense. Now that fits. It's a chat in a box. Chat in a box, yeah.
ピアノの音はこの先からか。
I think that structure might just be from Xenoblade 1. I'm not sure.
ナイル
I'm using a model that I made with whatever it's called, yeah, V-Droid or something. Or V-Roid.
ハッシュいらっしゃい。待ってたんだよ。
バリー、それにしても本当にいい天気になりましたね。
ナイル、お前どうして
I'm gonna pause so I can read the stuff that's being said on the radio. Maybe that's relevant. Spotless sky today will make it easy for all of us to celebrate last night's momentous occasion. Yeah, well, I don't have the money to get a good, model made and stuff. What? It's pronounced. Oh, of course. Yeah, I'm sorry, Fiber. How could I make such an amateur mistake?
素敵なところでしょ。ここずっと望んでたんだ。こういう素敵な場所
Talk more about that. Yes, let's talk more about the momentous occasion.
でマシューと私
Also, listeners know that what we're talking about, but I don't. Recap for any latecomers. Thank you, radio people. Half-body live 2D. Well, for now I'm just kind of staying on the free train until I have actual money. Which I don't. But maybe I'll keep that in mind for when I do. Maybe it is, Fiber. Maybe.
とそしてみんなとで一緒に暮らせる日を。
みんな
At midnight on the 16th, the first Radamantus spaceport saw the launch. Radamantus was not a term used in Xenosaga or Xenoblade, I think. Or Gears. Maybe it was written in Perfect Works at some point, I'm not sure. Earth Life Colonization Project's 8th mothership, the Icarus. That might have been in there. Well, yeah, this is a specific sequence in the DLC that is different from the rest of the game. That's why we're watching this. Because this is supposedly connected to Xenosaga and maybe X, Xenoblade X. That's why we're going through this again, because now that I have the context from Xenosaga, this could be interesting. Or should be, maybe, hopefully. It's what I've been told.
いつの間に
480,000 settlers to the Eta Carinae Nebula in the Carina Sagittarius arm of the Milky Way. I think 480,000 is a number of people that we do know from either Saga or from the Perfect Works. Icarus is the 8th interstellar colony ship dispatched as part of Project Exodus. Project Exodus makes me once again think more of Xenoblade X, but could just be the same thing, honestly. Maybe that was also in Gears or Saga.
じゃあ手を洗った人から並んでね。今日はね。
Wait, shit, I missed the last one.
じゃあ
Total number of colonists sent out to the stars to 3 million.
手を洗った人から並んでね。今日はね。
Coalition government plans to send out ships 9 to 13 in the course of this year.
先生の手作りだよ。
Ninth vessel departing in July heralds a new generation of ultra-long-range colony ships. Okay. Philadelphia-class motherships.
たくさんあるからね。
1.5 million people. Savior Right Human Rights Protection Bill. Okay.
ね、素敵でしょ。
13 authorities might be another callback, you know, because of the 13 all kinds of things.
ここでは何の心配もいらない。みんなが笑ってくら
7th Special Commission on Human Rights Debates.
せるの。外にはこんな
Possibility that the proposal might be scrapped seems more and more likely.
世界が待っている。新たな命にふさわしい場所。それ
How is anyone supposed to follow this, like, without pausing? Measure has sparked a lot of public debate. Many will be watching the government and the commission very closely.
ナエル、お前。
約束してくれたの。
I mean, I guess the radio stuff is mostly supposed to be, you know, Easter egg for now, and maybe the more important stuff will be left with more, you know, focus. Failing to make it all the way through.
あの人。
白銀の髪の優しい目をした人。この美しい世界をくれた人。
Wait,
白銀の髪
person with silver hair and kind eyes. Could that be Chaos?
の優しい目をした人。この美しい世界をくれた人。
Dmitry Yuriev. Well, that's a fucking important name. Council person from the Minas Authority.
古い命は捨てて旅立とうって。
Oh, wait. A white-haired person that says to cast away the old lives or whatever. I guess that would have been Wilhelm rather than Chaos. I guess his eyes could also be described as kind, even though, you know.
そうすればここは私たちのものになるって。だから古い命なんていらない。確かに美しいな。このままであるのならば。ナエル、この先の
But they here, of course. Wonder how they exactly fit in. No, I guess, I mean, I think they're called M, right? So it could be Maria. Could also be related to Chaos in some way. Or it could be something else entirely.
の景色を見たことはないのか。
But of course the Zohar earrings, you know, those stand out.
見たいとは思わない。本当は気づいているんじゃないのか。この世界がこの後どうなったのかを。人がどういう存在なのかを。思いは傲慢だ。何一つ不自由はなかったはずなのに、理想の世界を築いたはずなのに、人は先を求めてしまった。
I think these scenes as... No, wait, I think they might be from Xenoblade. Yeah, I think this is from Xenoblade.
世界は今の姿となった。嘘。こんなの嘘。こんなデタラメを見せたって私は変わらない。あの人はアルファは私に約束してくれたの。私たちの行く先にはここがあるって。こんな世界を作れるって。
本気かよ。本気
If it's Wilhelm,
なんだろ
then
うな。
当然でしょ。
kind of makes sense.
私たちが得られなかったものがここにある。
ねえよ、そんなもんは一緒なんだよ。 どこも見捨てたら同じになるんだよ。
あいつらお互いに殺し合ってるじゃない。生きるため？それが何？メビウスの守ろうとするものなんていらない。
ものじゃない、命だ。確かにメビウスは許せねえ。平気な顔をして命を刈り取る。だけど刈り取られる側に何の罪がある？何をした？何一つ選べない中で今を必死に生きようとしているだけじゃないか。
そのためにみんな死んだ。マシューはそれでいいの？
Matthew was his name, that's right. Kinda forgot.
いいわけねえだろ。けどな、ナイルのやろうとしていること。
No, wait, actually, sorry to pause, but like the non-binary mysterious person with the Zohar earrings was called A, right? Not M. M was like Mio, basically.
メビウスと同じだ。
Had that confused.
同じなんだよ。そんなんで新しい世界を築いたって結果は変わらねえ。こうなる。これがお前の望んだ世界だ。
This future isn't redeemed at all!
ナイル。
And then he Xenobladed all over
俺
the
たちの
place.
この命はみんなの未来の姿だって知ってるだろ。みんながいたからこそ俺たちは生まれたんだ。
Those guys.
本当の敵は誰なのか見誤るなよ。メビウスとかアルファとか呼び方なんてどうでもいい。本当の敵はこの命を、思いを奪おうとする奴のことだ。作ろうぜナイル。じいちゃんやばあちゃんたちが目指そうとした未来を俺たちのこの手で。
マシュー。
ナイル。
I don't remember how exactly this goes, by the way. But oh no. This guy.
実に見苦しいよ。
アルファ。
僕は世界を守るため古きものを消去する。それなのに君は僕の邪魔をする。こんな古き人々を駆り立てて。
僕は両親だ。
両親？トリニティプロセッサーとは思えないセリフだね。
それこそ思えないセリフだな、アルファ。あの人は俺たちに未来を託した。己が過ちを正すためその両親に従って。
その両親すら間違いだと気づかない。千慮の申し集だよ。所詮は古き人。やはり新たな未来にとっては不要だな。
なるほど。
Gotta say, I didn't get too much interesting stuff out of that. The only like definitive callback was Yuriev. Everything else was like, is that a thing that I remember? Was that mentioned?
理解不能だよ、マッシュ。
Gonna have to find a video that explains stuff that I missed, I feel like. But I think there's also stuff in the credits, so let's just keep on watching what goes on here.
本当の未来だって抜け殻の機械野郎に言ってもそりゃわかんねえよな。
Whoa.
僕が抜け殻だと。
命はこっちにあれ。命のない機械はただの抜け殻だろうが。
Yeah, I guess there's a fight here that we're gonna skip over.
ここで決着をつけるぞ。
That's probably fine. Oh,
しまったやろうマッシュまでも取り込むつもりか
見抜いたんだ。マッシュの内に残るわずかな葛藤を。
過去を捨てろ。断ち切れんのマッシュ。
やだ。
お前たちが何をした？何もしてはない。ただ未来に向かって歩こうとしただけだ。なのに古き人はそれを良しとしなかった。本当は気づいているんだろう。ここが居場所じゃないって。
やめろ。
なぜ犠牲になろうとする？踏み台になろうとする。古きものを断ち切らない限り人に未来はない。
古きもの。
頼んだぞマッシュ
冗談じゃねえ。俺はまだやることが終わらせるわけにいくかよ。俺は
wow. The save.
Mash, Nair!
あんたは
He's basically their father, right?
勘違いするな
Well,
俺は今に生きる者この剣に悔いはない
だろうと思ったぜ。だから俺は行くわけにはいかねえんだ。よ
マッシュ。
う、もういいよな。なら一緒に掴もうぜ、本当の未来を。
ごめんね。
気にすんな。N、 あんたには言いたいことが山ほどあるけど、この瞬間目的が一緒ってのは悪かね。だよな。つうわけだ、アルファさんとやら、そんなに行きたきゃ一人で行きやがれ。ここは俺たちの世界だ。
残念だよマッシュ。旅立ちの日を共に祝えないとはね。まあいい、打ち捨てることにするよ。古きもの、古き命、古き思いを。
okay. Full music. That has to be expected of the Xenoblade games. But yeah, I don't think any of this stuff currently has much of a connection to Saga and Gears. But now we've started watching this scene again, so, you know, might as well finish. Bad boss monster. The Monado. Okay. Let's skip this stuff. That's a long fight, huh? Oops.
じいさん、とんだ置き土産だぜ。
You thought you could defeat Rex? Huh.
二人がいてくれてるよ。
マシュ、拳を掲げろ。何？この力を回す。お前のその対の剣に。
あの光は
まさか打ちつけろ。ウロボロスの力を解放する。いちいちうるせえ。命令するんじゃねえ。
All is becoming one. Right. I forgot about this. Even though it's pretty cool. Oh yeah. We gut-tied the shit out of the shit. Now we punched the shit out of the shit. Isn't it beautiful?
マシュ、これで未来は不確定になった。後悔はないのかい？このような選択をして君に後悔は。
後悔なんていつもしてな。だから進めるんだよ、俺たちは。じゃあな、アルファ。
And there we go. Right, but it's all of us, and there's one of you. You don't want to take this one. Except some of us are leaving.
最後の一仕事かな。
ああ、そうだね。
おい。
アルファはこの僕はよりしろなんだ。君たち世界のね。アルファが君たちを求めたように、この世界もまた僕を求める。よ
りしろって。
それが消えたんだ。誰かが支えなきゃなんねえだろ。こうしているうちにも消滅現象は進んでいる。少しでも長く支えなきゃな。
その時までね。
ちょっと待って、誰かってその時までって。
まあそういうこった。
ダメだよ。犠牲になるなんてダメだ。犠牲じゃない、支えさ。
どこが違うっていうの？
大違いだ。カギロイ、お前たちがこの世界を変えてくれさえすれば、全ては元に戻る。
できなかったらどうするの？私の命 そんなに長くない。
だったら誰かだ。誰かに思いを託せばいい。そうして進んできたんだ、俺たちは。
わずかだけど贈り物はできる。僕とレックスの命を君たちに託そう。そうすればみんなと同じ程度には生きられる。なすべき時間は稼げる。
でも
おっと、勘違いするなよ。
Pat.
ちょっと休むだけさ。大丈夫だ。俺たちはまた会える。
師匠、先生。ルール違反だぞ、二人とも。
堅苦しいこと言うなよ。あいつらだったら喜んで協力してくれるはずだぜ。
確かに。まあその権利はあるか。いいだろう、見なかったことにするよ。
すまないね、アルビース。
They've lost the seal.
あとは君たち次第だ。僕たちがよりしろとなることで Z はその力を増すだろう。今回のこともオリジンに関することもおぼろな記憶となっていく。それでもここにある思いは受け継がれ、いつの日にかまた集う。明日なのか千の先なのか。だけど必ずその時は来る。僕にはそれが見える。
託したぜ、俺たちの未来。
待ってるよ、遥か時の彼方で。
Now they are promising to meet up again almost like they did at the end of Xenosaga. But will they?
本当は見えていたんじゃないか、こうなること
そしてこれからのことも。
僕に見えるのは流れの道だけだよ。希望は続いている。それだけは確かさ。
Definitely spending a lot more time on these cutscenes than I thought we would. It's falling. It's over for the world. Everything is fucked. Everybody sucks. I don't really know why, but I wanna justify ripping someone's head off.
.さてと、続きでもするか。
そんな力は残っているまい。
あんたもな。
Then they kiss.
メビウスは変わらない。何一つ。 これから先も永遠の今を守ろうとするだろう。
あんたもか。
当然だ。
ならここからだな。
叶わなかったらどうする？お前たちの命は短い。
さっきの話聞いてなかったのか？だったらそれをやるのは誰かだ。
Somebody sure will.
案外あんた自身かもな。
Uh-huh. He's a prophet. The peaceful after show party, basically.
また失敗もだから言ったもん、ノイズバイトが多すぎるって。
多く入れろって言ったのリコじゃないか。
言ってないもん。ニコルの聞き間違いもん。
Nico? From Zen to Zone
あん
Zero?
たたちまたやってるの？
またって必要だろ。ウロボロスストーンのパワーアップ。あとちょっとなんだ。この前蓄積されたデータを発動講師の波にうまく乗せることができれば。
完成すればあの時の力がいつでも出せるってやつ？
そう。発動講師の容量が限られるから、同時に得られる人数はそれほど多くはないだろうけど。
ふん。あ、そんなことより間に合わなくなるよ、見送り。
あ、そうだった。やばいやばい。
気をつけてね。本当に一人で大丈夫？
なーに、むしろ気楽でいいさ。
強がり言っちゃって。
マシュ、これまでいろいろありがとう。
お前らもありがとうな。
Sorry for being so quiet. I just don't really have much to
それと
add here.
留守の間
Especially since we've
シティ
watched
を
this
頼んだぜ。
when I played
ナイ
it.
ル、ニコル、カギロイ、パナセア、リンカ、あとリクもな。
ついてかよもう。
仲間を見つけたらまた戻ってくる。
いってらっしゃい。
お、さてと、世界再生の第一歩だ。マシュー・バンダム、行ってくるぜ。
Random. Hey, I forgot about that. Let's see. Okay, here might be where the credits become interesting. But maybe not. There's the two worlds, I guess. Splitting up, coming into existence.
I see you by the door. So just walk
Some
through.
really glowy shit.
Don't take too long. 'Cause everything you
Not sure what that's about.
you find out there.
Did they fuse back together already? No. Or I guess maybe they separated, you know. Like first they separated into two worlds and then, you know, they also separated to be in different dimensions. That blue bit there, Maybe that's Kos-mos? I don't know. Okay. I do, by the way, I did consider using my own playthrough of this, but I think it would have been weird talking over myself. But I'm kind of curious as to like what the chat message is, because the Zone was here. So let's maybe go through a little bit. You don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. Pay attention to this scene. It's Klaus's world, the World Tree. Yeah, that's from Xenoblade 1, everything, right? So that isn't actually anything Saga related, for the most part. Until Yuriev comes up, and then, I don't know. So that might mean Klaus World and Peak Xeno, This section. Title screen. He's trying to draw attention to the radio. The radio? It's not X. Yeah, right here. What I was saying is this maybe related to X, but he was like, no. Yeah, honestly, even now that I have played Saga, I'm definitely not losing my shit. OMG. Yeah, the Yuriev mentioned, that is, interesting. Radio logo. Oh yeah, right, the logo that's on the radio. That's one of the companies that shows up. I think it's mostly shown in Xenosaga 1 though, right? Vector Industries. Oh, okay, I guess that's in all the games then. Let's see if he kind of spoiled the fact that might be Kos-mos. Oh, I guess I played a bunch after the credits. Same singer from Xenogears Saga, yeah. Kos-mos, yeah, he did. Let's see what I said about that. What's that in the distance? Moving. I would almost want to say that it's an X reference or something, but it's probably not. I just so desperately want something with X. Still do. Monolith Soft. I like them. I do. Wow, this guy's speaking from my heart somehow. Yeah. Of course it's not X. New challenge. A new time attack challenge has been added. Consider paying a visit to... Well. So... Another thing I had queued up is just this video. I'm not sure if there's any real point to this. It's just kind of randomly came up while I was looking for this. It's Xenoblade Chronicles Future Redeemed Xenosaga 3 ending comparison. It's 8 minutes long. I'm just gonna run it for now, and if it's boring or whatever, we'll just skip. So far, they don't seem all that similar. Just kind of going through the timeline, this really doesn't seem very similar. I mean, there's credits playing now in both of them. Yeah, okay, this... This is a little more similar, I guess. This could be, intentional for sure. That could very well be intentional, but I'm glad I skipped all the other bullshit. I guess maybe we could try and find the scene where Kos-mos is like... I guess that's actually after this, isn't it? Let's see, let's see. No, okay, no, it would have to be before this. But okay, so they don't line up, right? The scene and the one with the blue light. Yeah, I don't think they are lined up much at all. Okay, I guess maybe maybe the scene here, right? There she kind of disappeared here and then she showed up here. But I feel like that was like manually timed by some other person, so I don't know if we can really take that to be intentional. But where's the scene where Kos-mos is floating around in space? That's the credits, but actually in the credits something happens in there, yeah. But there's nothing happening here, so... yeah, I don't know. In that case, there's no point in watching this. Alright, that video was not the most important. Right here we have something that I guess we'll save for later, because first... let's find that video. It was already recommended to me before. Like, Future Redeemed Explained or something like that. Future Redeemed... ending... I don't know, let's just type ending and maybe it'll show up. Final boss and ending... here. Back to the beginning. I don't know why I have that at like half watched. Maybe when I originally watched this I was like, I guess I won't play Saga, but no, I think I planned it. Whatever, let's just start from the beginning and maybe we'll learn something. It's 18:55 minutes long, so almost 19.
So obviously, spoiler warning for this video. If you haven't finished Future Redeemed yet, click off this video now and watch it later, because I'm about to discuss some major spoilers from the final cutscene of the DLC. You've got 3 seconds remaining to hightail it out of here. So I've just finished Future Redeemed, and whilst the ending didn't leave me quite as perplexed as the main game, there are still a number of topics that might have left you confused and yearning for answers. This video will hopefully shave away some of those doubts with the answers you've been looking for. So
or maybe
interested in the truth about
maybe the until the point I watched it was all like, oh, just Xenoblade related, and then it was like, okay, well now I'm going to talk about Xenosaga, and then I was like, oh no. But who knows?
Power, confused about Rex Shulkane's sacrifice, and or curious on how this leads into Xenoblade 3 and the future of the Xenoblade saga, then you've clicked on the right video.
Well, I'm more interested in the saga and stuff over
if you'd click that
crossover
subscribe button so that you can stay up to date with all the latest Xenoblade lore and videos that I upload on the channel, as it really helps me out a ton. With all that out of the way, let's get right into the power of Ouroboros. Last time I made a video on this topic, I emphasized that the ability to interlink and the power of Ouroboros were two separate things, and that Ouroboros was what enabled an interlink to occur. All of this information is still accurate, and I recommend watching this video if you haven't already after finishing this one to get the full rundown on that power from the main game. In Future Redeemed, however, we have what can be considered closer to the raw power of Ouroboros, the natural ability before we enable things like interlinking.
Yeah, I don't think we want to. I don't think any of this is pertinent to what we want.
After revealing that Matthew's gloves have been concealing Numa's core crystal this entire time, the power evolves. Or a better word,
I guess let's jump here.
So probably still wondering where Numa's core crystal comes into all of this, but worry not, as I have the answer. Numa's core crystal acted effectively as a catalyst for the Ouroboros power. Previously, it would draw in power from the conduit and utilize
I guess
that
seeing Numa's design now also kind of reminds me of Kos-mos a little bit, but maybe I'm just seeing Kos-mos everywhere now.
It appears to have been repurposed for the sake of the Ouroboros power, instead drawing that in and manifesting the power, becoming a pseudo-Ouroboros Ouroboros stone. This is in contrast to the Sword of the End, which represents and functions similarly to Logos's core crystal. Now I emphasize that this isn't actually Malos's core crystal, as that went poof at the end of Xenoblade 2 and no longer exists. What's far more likely is that using Ontos's core as the base, Melia created the Swords of the End as a replacement to Logos's core crystal, and yes, Melia is smart enough to do that. She has 35 TP. You could also think of them as replica Monados for Logos. With both the powers of the Sword of the End and the Ouroboros stones, the power of Ouroboros can be fully awakened, and this is what was lacking earlier in Future Redeemed. Matthew and the other party members who had Ouroboros only ever possessed the power from the Ouroboros stone, the positive side, but when Matthew collided with the Sword of the End, the negative side, during the final fight, he finally brought the power to completion.
Well, that's kind of interesting, but also not really what I'm here for.
Interlink into one and defeat Alpha. You may have also
Next
noticed
can
that this mirrors how
become
Ontos
avatars,
originally used to function, as he in effect took in positive
Future
information
Redeemed,
from
lead
Numa
into
and
Xenoblade
negative
3,
information from Logos,
after
creating
cutscene.
Ontos, who is the neutral entity. In this
Credits.
sense, the artificial power of Ouroboros can only reach completion when it comes into contact with both the positive and negative energies, which, fortunately for the party in Xenoblade 3, happened to be pretty easy to do, as Noah was already in
Philosophers,
possession of
maybe,
the
you
blade,
know,
making
I think that's
Riku's
nature, right?
insistency
So
that
maybe
Noah
that's
take
gonna
it
be
all that
related
more
to-
clear. Next up, we're going to take a closer look into the meaning of Shulk, Rex, and A's decision to become avatars for the world of Xenoblade 3. But before
I
we
guess let's
do,
just
we
keep
first need to
watching
make it
till
clear
the end
what
now.
an avatar actually is. And no, it isn't a blue humanoid-looking thing. Put simply, an avatar is a physical body or vessel for another's soul to inhabit. You can also think of it in a different way, in which the heart, representing the avatar, relies on the brain, taking the place of the soul. Both rely on one another to truly exist and sustain themselves, as one without the other is effectively useless. This then brings us on to the Ontos core crystal, which is an interesting application of this concept, technically being both sides. The being known as Alvis from Xenoblade 1, the combination of both Alpha and A, is the spirit of the Xenoblade 1 universe, and uses the Ontos core crystal as an avatar to manifest itself into that world. Presumably, this first occurred when Klaus performed his experiment, and Ontos triggered a space-time transition event, transforming him into the world's soul. After the destruction of Zanza, however, there was no need to maintain his presence within the physical world, and thus the Ontos core crystal reverted back to its original state, eventually washing up on the shore and being found by Shulk. Fast forward a bit to Xenoblade 3, and Alpha, the deteriorated personality of Alvis, now uses both himself and the core crystal as the soul itself, seeking for a body to become the avatar, which Niel eventually becomes. This is how Alpha maintains his power for the remainder of the game, until we at long last free Niel from Alpha's clutches and defeat him. The problem then lies, however, that the world, the physical body in this equation, has lost its soul, and if left as is, the world will crumble and cease to be. This is where Shulk and Rex step up to the plate and take on the role as Alpha, along with A, who was already a part of the world anyway. By using their
But why do
lives
you
to
need all
replace
three?
Alpha's portion, they can maintain the world itself and prevent its destruction. But once more, there's a little more to it. I mentioned previously that Alvis functions similarly to the conduit, and this is how. The Ontos core crystal acts as a gate between both the physical world, or lower domain, and the place where souls reside, or the higher domain. This then ties into Rex's comment about annihilation events, because Origin isn't just based on Ontos's core crystal, but utilizes it at its center. The freeze of the world would also be undone if Alpha wasn't replaced. This propping up that the world needs refers to Origin continuing to function under the will of Mobius, as if it ended prematurely, well... Before Shulk and Rex leave to do this, though, they imbue their children, Glimmer and Nicole, with some of their life energy. When people are born from Mobius, they're basically only provided with enough life energy to last them 10 years. The tattoos acting kinda like egg timers to keep track of how long they have left. Simply, Rex and Shulk top up the life energy within both of their kids, which allows them both to reach the age of 80 and live out their entire lives.
Why
A
just
special
80? Why not
exception
more?
made for the both of them. By then becoming the soul of the world, Shulk, Rex and A retire from the fight against Mobius, entrusting the future to the next generation until they one day escape from Mobius's grasp. This decision, however, wasn't a sacrifice. Well, it might have been, but not exactly at the same time. It's unclear if Origin would record and reload the data of the world soul itself, and specifically the soul within the Ontos core crystal. If it does, then this would technically mean that Alpha in some part has been revived. But if it doesn't, then Shulk and Rex did sacrifice themselves for the sake of the world. That said, new versions of them would have been created back in their new world. So in another sense, this wasn't a sacrifice. But I'll leave this topic here for you all to ponder on. Thematically, this then nicely brings us on to the next topic of this video, which is how Future Redeemed all ties back into Xenoblade 3. Again, for the most part, this is pretty simple, as we see both the Liberators and the citizens of the cities fuse together into one collective force, hell-bent on taking the world back from Mobius. Inevitably, over time, this group would manufacture their very own Pharaonis, which would contain the city within, allowing them to flee from Mobius's grasp and maintain the fight against them, passing down their dream to their descendants and so on. Zed would also empower his forces by regaining control over Origin after Alpha interfered with his ability to influence the outside world. This would be quite the setback for the city folk, however, as it would take around 1,000 years or so for anyone to be able to defeat the tyrannical empire of Mobius. This would largely in part be thanks to Riku, who integrated himself into Keves as a common variety Nopon. His objective, passed on to him from his master pawn Melia, was to find one worthy to wield Lucky 7 and become the hope that would free the world from Mobius. This eventually happened to be Noah, who we're still not certain on how there are two of them, but details smeetails. Anyways,
I'm sure it totally made sense and I totally understood it at the time, I just don't remember.
7, entrusting the fate of the world into his hands and choosing well. The theme of then passing on one's aspirations and dreams to another is then what largely ties the two games together. Future Redeemed sets up the opportunity for Mobius's defeat with the hope that someone may one day be able to defeat them. On the other hand, the main game of Xenoblade 3 focuses more so on the ideology of cutting off one's path towards the future. The two therefore contrast beautifully, as we have one story with the focus on setting up for the future and on another on wasting those opportunities and overcoming the doubt and self that lives within us all. Lastly, the two games also connect through an interesting application of the eternal recurrence. This is a philosophical concept reimagined by Friedrich Nietzsche, which states that time repeats itself in an infinite loop, and that exactly the same events will continue to occur in exactly the same way, over and over again, for eternity.
Not if kos-mos has any say in it.
Xenoblade 3 utilizes a more practical approach to this concept through the lives of the soldiers, each being reborn in 10-year intervals to fight for their nation over and over again. On the other hand,
yeah, I was gonna bring up that you know, the way that things repeat in this game reminded me of the things we saw in Saga at the end. But I think I forgot to bring it up at the time when it came up when we watched that just now.
Future Redeemed takes a more philosophical approach to this ideology and completes the concept from the base game. Xenoblade 3 broke down the ideas of why so many of these conflicts occur through the issue of how the eternal recurrence becomes a cause for strife and conflict in the nature of it, being a form of overdependency represented through Mobius. Future Redeemed, however, demonstrates the contrast to this argument via the idea that completely abandoning this kind of dependency or trying to force a form of ignorance is in fact the same thing, exemplified in a saying of Nietzsche's, which itself recurs many times throughout his works. If one wishes to fight with monsters, see to it that you yourself do not become one. And when you look into the abyss, know that the abyss looks back. The ending of Future Redeemed acts as a way to show the player that one cannot ignore the past and where they came from, as in the end, this would only lead to their inevitable and unavoidable destruction. Finally, we need to discuss the after credit scene and the future of the Xenoblade saga in general. Thankfully, we finally got confirmation that at the end of this game, that both worlds of Kevis and Agnes will in fact become one once more, truly bringing the Klaus saga and the events that were set in motion by his experiment to an end. Additionally, some nice symbolism is that when both worlds begin to re-enter the real world, you can reminiscently see the Mobius symbol being formed.
I guess,
a fitting shape
yeah,
for what
kinda.
is the end of the Endless
But
now.
sure.
The appearance of Jupiter also feels incredibly fitting, as there's a lot of mythology surrounding that planet.
I feel like maybe
in
this guy
particular
just
that
didn't
Xenoblade draws
play Saga.
inspiration from, mainly surrounding Klaus.
Because even when he made mentions of things that are very reminiscent of Saga, you know, like the Nietzsche stuff, for example, he didn't mention those games at all.
I'm planning on making a video on this topic specifically though, so without spoiling that, I'll simply clarify that within Greek mythology, Jupiter represents the god Zeus, who is the son of Cronus. The story of these two gods is pretty much a loose adaptation of the Xenoblade 1 story, with how Klaus or Zanza created a new god, which ended up leading to his own demise. As for the future of the saga, things couldn't ever be more confusing and clear at the exact same time. Considering the huge lore dump we got through the radio, however, once again, I'm going to be saving a lot of this for another video. But this does relatively confirm a few of our suspicions of where the Xenoblade timeline is now heading. The two primary theories
That
at
was
the
from
moment,
X, I'm pretty
however,
sure.
for this last scene are that the blue star falling towards Earth is either Kos-mos after the events of Xenosaga Episode 3 or Elma from Xenoblade Chronicles X. Considering I'm still yet to play Xenosaga, I'm sure you can guess which idea I'm biased towards. But either way, I feel as if this last scene is a perfect send-off to Xenoblade and encapsulates everything I wanted it to have when setting up for the next saga.
Yeah,
Also,
I
before
had
we end this
known-
video, I just want to give a quick shout out to Joanne Hogg, who's the singer for Future Awaits, the song that plays during the end.
Yeah, whatever. If I had known that this guy hadn't even played Saga, I never would have fucking watched this video. Like, you mentioned some stuff that's kind of interesting, but for the most part, that was not what I was looking for. Speaking of Elma and X, though, let's watch this scene from the very end of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Because when I rewatched this scene recently, I was a little surprised at what I saw. Not because I hadn't seen it before, but because I had now seen other things as well.
Everyone wait. There's one more thing I need to talk to you about.
Oh man, what now?
The truth is, exactly one Mim in New LA.
So obviously spoilers for Xenoblade Chronicles X.
From a real body held in
Spoilers for
space.
everything Xeno in this entire stream/video,
Someone
so
isn't stored in the database with the rest of us?
yeah.
That's right. This was a special case.
The hell does that mean?
So there's at the very end, I guess, to give a little bit of a recap. I kind of found the core or whatever, and all of these bodies are essentially robots that are housing their, let's say, souls, their intellects or whatever. And she just turned her, you know, robot body off
Elma is dead.
to reveal something.
This is...
I haven't died. My consciousness has just returned to my real body.
Uh-huh. And now watch this. If you've been watching this, or if you played Xenosaga, then this, just this alone already should be like, huh, hold on a minute. Hold on a goddamn second. Also, hold on. You make your own protagonist in this game. This guy looks weird to me. That's not what the protagonist of this game looks like. What are you doing? The protagonist is a cute girl, obviously. But now, not only the thing, but also blue long hair. And that outfit? Okay, the elvish ears are not exactly, you know, what I'm thinking of, but can't be a coincidence, right? Like when I watched Stalker Archer play this, right? That's how I rewatched the scene. She was also like, whoa! Because this has to be on purpose, right? This has to be on purpose to be made to look a lot like Kos-mos.
Really you?
Yes. This is my true form.
And then also the fact that Elma's, you know, previous form that, you know, you see throughout almost all of the game has, you know, dark skin, white hair, and I'm not sure about the eye color anymore, but a lot like Chaos.
I was kept here in stasis.
So what the fuck?
The only xenoform on board.
And that's why I was reminded kind of the scene, especially when that guy just now mentioned it, that the thing falling down is either Kos-mos or Elma. In my mind, I was like, but what if they're the same thing?
Wait a second. All this time you were an alien?
But yeah, the thing here is, of course, even though this looks a lot like Kos-mos, as far as she reveals, she's like a biological life form, not a, you know, not a machine. And also, you know, she's got those ears, she's an alien. So, yeah, I'm not sure, man. It's weird.
And at the end
But
of
it's
the
also
day,
cool.
I just hope you'll still consider me as one of you.
Of course, we love you, Elma.
Of course we will.
Yeah.
You've earned that, Elma. It's not about how you look. It's the person you are on the inside. That's what counts.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Put Elma into Smash.
Lynn's right. Colonel, listen. We know whatever you did, you felt it was for the greater good.
Yeah. Nothing's changed.
That's right.
Everyone.
But yeah, that's just kind of what I wanted to show with that. Just really interesting. Like, right, there's no way that isn't intentional, right? Coming in, like, first showing that coffin-like thing that Kos-mos was always resting in, and then having her hair color and her general color scheme and the armor that looked a lot like some of her designs. There's no fucking way that's not intentional, right? Sadly, when I tried to Google like Xenoblade, when I tried to Google Elma Kos-mos, oops, all I found was this video here, and I just watched the first couple minutes to see if it's of any value, and it's not. It's not. It's not. But kind of what kind of sprung off from that was me seeing, you know, scenes from Kos-mos and I guess Telos also in Xenoblade 2, and maybe that's worth watching again with some new context. Let's see, some interesting Easter eggs. Kos-mos in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 built by Xion somehow. Sure, let's click on that.
Yeah, I beat Xenosaga like last week, and I'm already making a Xenosaga spoiler video. I have thoughts, so deal with it. Spoilers for the entire Xenosaga series, as well as Xenoblades 1 and 2.
Why is this so fucking dark?
I don't know. I've predicted Future Connected very well so far, so maybe spoilers for that. I don't know. Anyway, I was looking over Kos-mos' appearance in Xenoblade 2 to see if there were any other Easter eggs or references that I'd missed the first time, and obviously there were. Namely, all of her blade skills are references to things she can do in the original series.
I mean,
and
yeah,
I just
obviously.
didn't realize they were directly referencing something because, well, I had...
Why is this so
yet.
dark?
Like,
That's stupid.
Oh, wait, she uses the Hilbert effect for something. I know what that is. Her big attack is X-Buster. That's a really big deal. There's a reason they ripped it off for Fiora's Final Cross. That kind of thing. But then, I looked up her concept art in the art book, and it actually got kind of interesting. Because among that, like among the normal concept images you'd expect to see, there's a little info card. And, yeah.
Meister Xion.
That's a remake of an info card from Xenosaga Episode 3 concept.
You let Xion die, you bozo.
Kos-mos version 4. And not only is it a remake of the thing, with similar formatting and stuff, but there are differences. And those
You're taking too long with all of this. Whatever. I feel like there was one more thing, at least, that I really wanted to see. Right, I wanted to look for maybe a better, breakthrough. No, better explanation, I guess, for what Future Redeemed has to do with Xenosaga. Future Redeemed Xenosaga. A very normal discussion about the radio in Xenoblade 3 Future Redeemed. That's the same person as the video we just kind of looked at. Lord Up Radio, 45 seconds? Yeah, I don't know about that. Everything you need to know about Xenosaga. More new secrets about of Xenoblade 3. Alright, you know what? This is an hour long, so I don't think that's gonna be a good idea to watch on stream right now. Xenofan plays Xenoblade 1 Blood. Radio keywords explained. Alright, let's give that one a try.
The radio in Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Future Redeemed is the most hotly discussed topic in the Xeno fandom as of late. Said radio presents many lore implications for the Xenoblade trilogy. So let's dissect what Xeno meta-series connections are to be found in the scene.
Yeah,
Spoilers
do that.
for all Xeno games ahead.
Yep.
But before we get into that, this is Lunar Roge, the co-host of Files from the Zohar and the editor/scriptwriter of this Xeno series content.
Sorry. A really cool Easter egg.
The radio's frequencies are listed as 98, 02, 04, 06, 10,
Those are the release years
17,
of the Xeno
and
games.
23, all of which correspond to the Japanese release dates of Xenogears, the Xenosaga trilogy, and the Xenoblade games respectively. The dial is set to late 99.
But yeah, 22 is kinda wrong.
This radio goes far beyond a mere Easter egg though, so without further ado,
Connections to Xenoblade.
I'm going to explain all of the keywords the radio uses to connect to the other Xenoblade series games. The radio
Wish we had just found and watched this first, instead of the other video that ended up not being much of a... not having much of a point. Oh well.
Hostess begins with a link to Xenoblade 2 by mentioning the Rhadamanthus Authority and the Rhadamanthus spaceport within it. The spaceport itself made its debut in Xenoblade 1, but wasn't named until Xenoblade 2. This is where Klaus uses the conduit to birth a new universe. This segment in Future Redeemed is actually our first full look at Rhadamanthus before its destruction. The hostess also mentions the Earth-Life Colonization Project and the Coalition Government, which are concepts pulled from Xenoblade X.
See, I was right. I fucking was right the entire time. Jeez.
Also known as Project Exodus, was launched by Earth's coalition government to protect humanity from the imminent destruction of their race by alien forces. The project involved humans leaving Earth on large passenger ships, known as arcs, equipped to find and colonize any habitable planets. Within the world of Xenoblade X, very few of these ships make it out of Earth's atmosphere before being shot down, but the ship we follow through the narrative finds itself on the planet Mira, where the entirety of the game takes place. It is unknown if any other ships survived the attacks, but it is heavily implied that there may be more out there.
Sure.
Back to Xenoblade's numbered timeline, the last in-series reference the hostess makes is to the Saviorite Human Rights Protection Bill. The Saviorites are only present within the backstory of Xenoblade 2, so details about them are sparse. What is known is that they are the group that rebelled against and attacked the Rhadamanthus spaceport during the time Klaus rebirthed the world. This new dialogue implies that there was political discord over giving them human rights protections, making the conflict seem a tad more nuanced than initially thought. On that note, the Saviorites were actually known as the Salvadors in the original Japanese version, which brings me to...
Connections to Xenosaga, this is what we're here for.
The Xenosaga trilogy. By far the most referenced section of Xeno by the radio. Its lore and ideas remain present in Xenoblade today, for example, the Salvadors. While the Salvadors are actually a concept initially from Xenosaga, their name is spelled slightly differently in Japanese than the Salvadors found in Xenoblade. The Xenosaga Salvadors were man-made designer children, a large number of which were made for combat. The horrors and ramifications for the Xenosaga world are far too broad to discuss in this video, but just know that man-made people and their rights as humans are one of the most prevalent topics in the Xenosaga trilogy. There's also the Salvador faction, an organization within Xenosaga's Galaxy Federation government. They are a group of Salvadors, initially formed to voice the interest of Salvador designer children within the Galaxy Federation, though they would end up becoming a sort of Black Ops group. Perhaps this could give us hints as to who the Saviorites were in the world of Xenoblade, though this would be merely speculatory. The head representative of the Salvador faction is one of the most important figures in all of Xenosaga, Dmitry Yuriev. If that name sounds familiar, it's because he was also name-dropped by the radio hostess. Uriyev was the first ever designer child to be produced, as well as the second ever human to meet Udu, a godlike being in the Xenosaga universe, and the first one to live that experience. He was imparted with the knowledge that the universe's end was inevitable, which drove him to commit many heinous atrocities out of his fear of such. His death happens a total 14 years before the Xenosaga games even begin, though he would eventually return as he can move his consciousness between bodies due to his contact with Udu. Because Gainen, his genetic son, was made to his specifications, Uriyev can inhabit his body and therefore extend his own lifespan. This allows Uriyev to be a major antagonistic force for most of Xenosaga Episode 3. While it's unknown if the Dmitry Uriyev in Future Redeemed fulfills the same role or even looks like the one from Xenosaga, we do know he played a critical part in the Xenoblade world's government, much like Xenosaga's, as they list him as councilman of Radamanthus' Minos Authority. The last Xenosaga connection
What did that text just say?
Councilman of Radamanthus' Minos
A term unique to Xenoblade, okay.
Authority. The last Xenosaga connection is technically not said by the radio, but displayed by it. The radio has the logo of Vector Industries on it. Vector Industries is the largest business conglomerate within the Galaxy Federation. They do all sorts of things, such as building mechs known as eggs, creating human soldiers called Realians, and
That's how that's supposed to be pronounced?
and, on a smaller scale, battle androids such as kos-mos.
Yeah.
Xenosaga's protagonist, Shion Usuki, actually worked for
Seeing this from Xenosaga 1 shows how much the style changed over time.
them at the start of the series, heading their first R&D division's kos-mos project. Though as the series progresses, they are revealed to be merely a front for more shady dealings,
Sure
namely,
were.
secretly funding the main villain group, the UTIG organization, as well as strategically utilizing a destructive alien force, known as the Gnosis, to level and destroy areas for their own gain. The Vector Industries in Xenoblade has not yet been confirmed to have any relevance to the story, but who knows what awaits in the future.
Connections to the Xenogears. Oh.
Xenogears, being the original Xeno game, was bound to also have its own illusions. Hell, some of the connections thus far were telephone-style references to it. One Xenogears-based keyword the hostess says actually mixes the lore of Xenoblade and Xenogears a bit. She says that the Coalition government, as well as Project Exodus from Xenoblade X, are to launch a new series of colony ships known as Philadelphia-class motherships. That same designation is given to a ship known as the Eldridge in Xenogears, which was meant to relocate humanity from its current planet. The Eldridge
I mean, the fact that they had, basically the same system of fire using ships to bring colonies of people to space and / other planets was always pretty much the same as X. So the connection there seemed pretty obvious without even having to be mentioned, right?
was commissioned by the Star Cluster Federation and housed two very important things for the overarching Xeno lore: Deus, a man-made god, and the Zohar, which needs no introduction. Deus was being used as an automated weapon, whilst the Zohar was Deus's power source. Not to be a broken record, but the full history of the Eldridge could easily take up hours, so I will skip to its outcome. After Deus awakens and overrides the ship, it crash lands on an uncharted planet, leaving a lone survivor, named Abel. This planet is the primary setting of Xenogears. Deus then activates its regenerative program to create the mother of all humans, Myong. Myong's primary objective was to create a sustainable population to repair Deus's tissue via sacrifice. Several of these concepts would be reused by the later Xeno games, such as humanity evacuating a planet on a large ship, and a god creating life to sustain itself after taking severe damage. The hostess also makes note of an impressive milestone.
What is all of this? This graphic is not from Xenogears, as we never get to see it depicted in any Xeno game. Right. Looks crazy. A real-life place.
Stone for the Earth-Life Colonization Project. Human ships have managed to touch down in the Carina Sagittarius arm of the Milky Way galaxy. The Sagittarius constellation is actually home to the first planet humans colonized after Earth in Xenogears' timeline. The planet they inhabited there was labeled Neo-Jerusalem, as the abandoned Earth was renamed Lost Jerusalem. This same lore, albeit somewhat remixed, was also used in the Xenosaga games. The last key term mentioned by the radio involves a group known as the 13 Authorities, saying they've been petitioning against the Saviorite Human Rights Protection Bill. While this title is new, the number 13 has some relevance to the Xeno series in many ways, such as Jesus and his 12 apostles in Xenosaga. However, I posit that this specifically ties into Xenogears. In Xenogears, Myong created the first 13 humans, the 12 members of the Gazelle Ministry, and Emperor Cain. Throughout the game, though Cain is at odds with the others, they work as a sort of governing force over the world, controlling things from behind the scenes and watching over humanity's growth.
Fuck those guys, by the way.
The Gazelle Ministry
I'm gonna say it every time.
the Gazeru Hoin, or the Gazelle Law Institute or Court. While obviously existing within entirely different contexts, the fact that there are specifically 13 authorities within this governing body leads me to believe that this may be a reference to Xenogears.
Yeah, that might very well
The
be.
Xeno meta-series is remarkably self-referential, pulling in and remixing concepts from previous games to further an individual entry's themes. The radio scene is no exception, using swaths of Xeno background to highlight the false paradise Nile clings to. With 25 years of Xeno, it's fun to seek out every little link between entries. In the future, we may make a video explaining more of the connections in Future Redeemed, or maybe even the Xeno games beyond that.
Well then, see, that was much better. I'm actually gonna give that one a like, because that actually said some stuff that I wanted to hear, basically, right? Even though it wasn't like hugely revelatory, it was still worth of our time, I'd say. But yeah, maybe I'll watch like this thing and some other stuff in my own time, but I guess for now we can consider this wrap-up wrapped up, as we ponder about Kos-mos and Elma, because there isn't really a real answer to this, at least not until they give us Xenoblade Chronicles X2. Please, Nintendo, please! So yeah, I guess we'll end this here. The thing is, I guess I'm going to. So I guess for now I'm just gonna end this portion of the stream, which means I'm gonna stop the recording for now, because I'm gonna do something else right after, which is the demo for Visions of Mana, the newest Mana game that was announced not all that long ago. And I didn't actually realize that it was set to release very soon. I think in 2 days or something. Very soon. So, yeah, there's a demo out, and I have downloaded and installed it. So I'm gonna play that. But since I want these to be individual videos on YouTube, I'm gonna end the recording here. So thank you for watching so far, hanging out, and being a Xeno nerd with a me. And I hope you'll join me for the rest of this. So until then, otsukare-sama. See ya.